Hello, welcome back to the link volume. Today we're going to discuss another work in unfolding the classic series, that is Oedipus Rex. It is one of the most famous tragedies which are still studied today and is appreciated widely because of its theme and structure and superb storyline. Well, first start with its general information introduction. It is written by Sophocles. It is a Greek tragedy written in 429 BC. It is before Christ. Setting is Thebes in Greece, and the theme around which the story revolves is free will and fate. So let's start. Now, this is one of the most famous quotes. What is the creature that walks on four legs in the morning, two legs at noon, and three legs in the evening? Comment down below if you know the answer. It is the Sphinx riddle from the story. Now, this is one of the most famous tragedies written down. It has haunted humanity more than anyone. A king who solved the great riddle, one who discovered that he could not solve riddle of himself, a man who chased truth with everything he had and was destroyed by it. Welcome to Oedipus Rex, the play Aristotle called a perfect tragedy, a story a Sigmund Freud made famous for the wrong reasons. The oldest detective story in the world where the detective is also the murderer. Well, if you know why it's famous, why Sigmund Freud made it famous, because of Oedipus complex. So, Oedipus complex came from this story. So let's discuss the characters of the play. First, Oedipus himself, king of Thebes, hero who could not stop seeking truth. Then Eucastra, queen of Thebes, wife of Oedipus, and mother of Oedipus. Now this is like a wow factor. How is it possible being wife and mother at the same time? Well, as the story unfolds, you will know. Then Tiresias, blind prophet, sees everything he cannot look at. He's in quite a lot of Greek tragedies. Then Creon, brother of Eugastra, king's loyal brother-in-law. Then Sphinx, monster of Thebes, devourer of those who failed riddle. King Laius, dead king of Thebes, father of Oedipus, murderer at the crossroad. Then the shepherd, old servant, hold the secrets that undoes everything. Then the chorus, elders of Thebes, the voice of the people and of faith. Now let's see the family tree. This is the family tree, the house of Thebes. The king Laius is also the husband of Eugastra. He is father of Oedipus, and at the same time, Eugastra is wife and mother of Oedipus. And this is King Polybus, adoptive father of Oedipus. He adopted Oedipus later in the play. Then these are children of Oedipus and Eugastra, that are Eteocles, Polynices, Antigone, and Ismene. And at the same time, these children are his siblings, Oedipus' siblings, his and they are his children too, as he's their father. This is what makes the situation tragic, that how can someone be father and at the same time sibling too. While this is written down below for easier understanding, Oedipus is the son, husband, and stepfather of the same woman. His 4 children are his siblings, his wife is his mother. Every single relationship in this play is a double one, and the tragedy is none of them knew it. The family tree is not just a chart, it is the shape of the curse itself. Now let's move on to the tragedy. The first chapter that I'm going to start with is a prophecy nobody could escape. So the story starts with Thebes many years before the play, before Oedipus Rex even began, before the first word of Sophocles ever spoken. Something terrible has already been in motion. And this is the first thing to understand about the story. It is already over before it is started. King Laius of Thebes went to consult the oracle of Apollo at Delphi, the most sacred oracle in the Greek world. He wanted to know if he could have an heir. The oracle spoke, and the answer was, "Laius, king of Thebes, hear the word of Apollo. You will have a son, but know this, that son will kill you, and after you're dead, he will marry your wife, his own mother. The house of Thebes is cursed." In ancient Greeks, well, the gods are really much appreciated and they're quite followed a lot. So in the plays, in the tragedies, there's no such thing as a play without mention of the gods. So here is also mentioned oracles hold a great privilege for them, and they were followed quite a lot. Then Laius was horrified. He made a decision that every parent in his audience would understand, and that changes nothing. He would prevent the prophecy. He would make sure that child never lived. Then a baby was born, a boy. Laius, quite worried, asked the shepherd take him to the mountain of Kithron and leave him there to die. Name Oedipus. The name Oedipus in Greek means swollen foot, a direct reference to the bound, pierced feet of the abandoned infant, and he carries the mark of his near death in very name all his life, and he never knew why. Well, his name depicts what happened to him in the start as he was born, because his father had his feet pierced and with a pin and bound it together, which swallowed his feet. So it's because of that his name represented him. But the shepherd, when he took him to the mountain, he took pity, and instead of giving the baby to the woods or to die, he gave the baby to a herdsman from Corinth, its place, who brought the infant to the king Polybus and Queen Merope of Corinth. They were childless. They raised him as their own son. They named him Oedipus. He grew up believing that he was prince of Corinth without having an idea who he actually was. The terrible irony is the king Laius tried to prevent the prophecy, created the exact condition for it to come true. If he had kept the boy, Oedipus would have known his father and he would have never killed a stranger. On the road, the attempt to escape the fate. What made the fate happen? This is the central horror of the story, that he should have kept the boy with him. By throwing him away, he made him a stranger. The second is the riddle on the road. Well, then Oedipus grew up as a prince in Corinth. One day a drunk man shouted at him, "You're not really Polybus' son." The insult shocked him. He went to the oracle of Delphi to ask the truth of his birth. Well, the oracle did not answer the question. It gave him something worse, that you are doomed to kill your father. You are doomed to marry your mother. Go home, Oedipus, and never return to Corinth, or this prophecy will come true. Well, this prophecy even confused him more. Oedipus was certain that Polybus and Merope were his real parents, and that made him mad, and he left Corinth, decided to never come back to the place to protect his parents. Well, on the narrow road, while he was in the move, at a crossroad, a chariot appeared. The driver whipped Oedipus out of the way. The old man of chariot struck him with his staff, thinking that why would he appear in front of the chariot of someone noble. Oedipus, with his fierce pride of a prince, struck back. He killed the old man. He killed all his attendants, but one who escaped. He walked on. He had no idea who the old man was. Well, this is a tragedy. The old man was King Laius of Thebes, Oedipus' father. The first half of the prophecy just came true. Oedipus did not know it. He would not even know it for many years. He walked toward Thebes with blood in his hand and no idea what he had done. Then he had arrived at the gates of Thebes, where a monstrous sphinx is always standing there, half woman, half lion, with the wings of an eagle. Every person who tries to enter or leave Thebes had to answer to her riddles. Every person who failed was devoured. The king had recently been killed on the road, no one knew by whom, and the city was slowly dying. Then this is the riddle of the Sphinx. She asked him, what creature walks in 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at the noon, and 3 legs in the evening, and is weakest when it has the most legs? The answer is, which Oedipus replied with, is man. As an infant he crawled in all 4 legs, and an adult he walks upright straight. In old age he leans on the staff. The more legs, the weaker he is. Every other person in Greece failed in this riddle. Oedipus walked to the Sphinx alone and answered it correctly. Then Oedipus said to the Sphinx, the answer is man. And that's what he answered him. Sphinx, defeated, threw herself from the cliff and died. Thebes were free. The grateful city offered Oedipus the great reward. Well, they gave him the throne and the hand of the widowed queen Eucastra. Eucastra, as we have discussed it earlier, she is wife of King Laius and the real mother of Oedipus. He accepted, he married her, they had 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. For years, Oedipus ruled wisely and well. Thebes flourished. He was a great king. everyone loved him, but he had no idea that one word of suspicion and a woman he slept with every night would be his own mother. That the dead king that he killed himself would be his father. Well, he didn't have an idea, and nobody actually had. Then the riddle's deeper meaning. The riddle of the Sphinx is not just a puzzle. Well, these are just for general information, so you can understand that what goes around in the story. So, let's discuss this. The riddle of the Sphinx is not just a puzzle, it is a theme of the entire play. Oedipus, who solved the riddle of man, cannot solve the riddle of himself. The creature that walks on four legs in the morning is the infant Oedipus, left to die with the bound feet. The creature with the staff in the evening will be the blinded Oedipus, led by his daughter. He is the answer to his own riddle that does not know. While blinded Oedipus, that will come later in the story. Investigation Part 3. A king who cannot stop asking questions. Well, this is situated in Thebes, the palace of Oedipus, the present day of the play. The play opened with the Thebes in crisis again. A terrible plague has fallen into the city. Crops failed, cattle die, women miscarry. People are dying in the street. A delegation of citizens come before Oedipus, begging him to save him as he saved them from Sphinx. Oedipus, always a man of action, has already sent Creon, his brother-in-law, to the oracle of Delphi to ask what must be done. Creon, when he returned from Delphi, after the oracle, he said the oracle said the city harbors a pollution. The murder of King Lois was never found and was never punished. He still walks among us. Find the killer, exile him or execute him, and the plague will end. Oedipus replied, Then I will find this man if he takes me everything I have. I will pursue this investigation as if Lois were my own father. Whoever the killer is, he will be found on what I swear. Well, no, that's an irony. He actually was his father. He means everywhere. He published a proclamation. If anyone knows anything about the death of Lois, they must speak. The killer will be punished. Well, here the Oedipus did not know himself that he actually was the killer. This is what makes the story a tragic story. The play structure is Oedipus Rex is constructed as a detective story. Well, this is the information about what actually the story is about, but in reverse. The audience already knows who did it. We watch Oedipus, brilliant and relentless, investigate a crime in which every clue directly points at him. The horror is not the discovery, it is watching him to get there. Then moving forward to part 4, the blind man who sees everything. Well, this is again at the palace of Thebes. The chorus advises Oedipus, summon Tiresias, the blind prophet, a man who cannot see and yet sees everything, Apollo's own servant. Apollo is one of the Greek gods, ancient Greek gods. So if anyone knows the truth, he does. Tiresias comes, but he refuses to speak. He begs to be sent home. Tiresias said, Let me go home, Oedipus, you bear the burden more easily if I bear mine in silence. What I know, it is better for both of us if you never learn it. Oedipus got angry and said, "What? You have information about the murder of king, the pollution destroying this city, and you refuse to speak. You are betraying Thebes, you are a traitor." Then Tiresias said, "I will say one thing and only one thing. The man you're looking for, the murderer of lies, that man is here. He came as a stranger, and but he will be revealed as a native Theban. He came as a son, he will be revealed as a father and as a brother at once. He came as a husband, he is a son." Oedipus got angry and said, "You're mad. You're blind and you're mad. You who put up to this, Creon. This is Creon's plot to take my throne. A conspiracy, that's all this is." Thebes, when he was going, said, "You were born to suffer, Oedipus. You're the pollution of this land. You do not know who you live with or who you gave life. The day will come when you curse the light and cause for darkness, and no man on earth will scream more terribly than you." While on Thebes, Tiresias left, Oedipus dismisses everything. He said, "It must be a political conspiracy by Creon to seize the throne. He is so certain of his own innocence, so sure of his identity, the truth passes right over him like a shadow." Well, Oedipus was not accepting him that what Tiresias said is actually true. He thought that it is a conspiracy to take his throne. So, the blindness paradox. The seeing man cannot see, the blind man sees everything. Sophocles is making one of the most devastating arguments in all of drama, that sight and insight are not the same thing. Oedipus, the man who sees with brilliant eyes, is the most truly blind character on stage. Tiresias, who cannot see the physical world at all, perceives the whole truth clearly. The irony will become devastatingly literal by the play's end. This shows what the greatness of the play is. Then moving onward to the part 5 of the play, that is, thread by thread it unravels. So now the story is opening. It is situated at the palace of Thebes. Oedipus accuses Creon of conspiracy. Jocasta comes out to calm them both. She wants to reassure her husband, so she tells him something she thinks will comfort him. Oracle cannot be trusted. Well, Jocasta, what she said is quite controversial. She said, "Listen to me. Prophecies mean nothing. An oracle once told Lais that his own son would kill him, but Lais was killed by a robber at the crossroads, not by his son. Our son was abandoned in the mountainside as an infant. He has been dead for years. So, you see, oracles lie. Don't torment yourself over what any prophet says." But her words should comfort him. Instead, they set up a spark that cracked the faith of Oedipus. That what? Oedipus very quickly said, "Jocasta, we're at the crossroads. What did Lois look like? How many men were with him?" Jocasta uncertainly said, "Why do you ask? He was tall. His hair had gone grey, not unlike you in his build. 5 attendants, one survived." Oedipus knew at this instant and said, "Who sent for the Savior? I need to speak to him now." Then a messenger arrived from Corinth. Old King Polybus is dead of old age. He brings the news, thinking it would be welcomed, and he adds something to comfort Oedipus further. Polybus wasn't his real father, he was found as an infant and adopted. Messenger told him that you have nothing to fear from the prophecy about killing your father. Polybus is dead of old age, and besides, he was not truly a real father. He has no children of his own. I know, because I am the only one who gave you to him years ago. He was handed to me as a baby by a shepherd on the mountains of Keraton, with your feet bound together. Well, this shocked everyone. Jocasta understands. First, Jocasta in the whisper, saying, "Why, going pale? Oedipus, stop. I beg you, stop investigating. Stop asking questions. What are you going to find? Please, for your own sake, stop." Oedipus, determined, and said, "Why would I stop? I'm close to the truth. I will not stop until I know who I am, where I came from, and what have I done." Jocasta said, "I'm telling you, do not do this. I'm begging you, let it go." Oedipus said, "I will not stop, not for anyone." Well, then Jocasta turns and walks back into the palace without another word. It is the last time we see her alive. Well, we'll know it later what actually happened. Okay, the part 6. The shepherd speaks. Now, the old shepherd is brought in, the man who decades ago was given the infant Oedipus to live on the mountain and could not do it. He recognized the Corinthian messenger immediately. He does not want to speak. Well, now this is getting interesting. The old shepherd said, "Please, old man, don't make me answer. Please, I have nothing to say." Oedipus said, "You will speak. Where did this man get an infant he gave to Polybus of Corinth? Was the child yours or someone else?" Shepherd said, "My lord, the child was from the house of Lois. It was said to be his own son, and the queen inside your wife, she would know best what it means." Oedipus said, "She gave you the child." Shepherd said, "Yes, my lord." Then Oedipus said, "For what purpose?" Shepherd, while crying, said, "To kill it. There was an oracle that the child would kill his father. She gave it to me so that I would throw him, and I could not do it. I pitied the child. I gave him to this man instead, and that man saved him and brought him to such a fate as, oh God." If you are the man I think you are, then you were born into misery. Then Oedipus, finally knowing it all, said, all of it is true. I see it all. I was born of those I should never have been born of. I have lived with those I should have never been lived with. I have killed those I should never have killed. All of it is true." He runs into the palace. Well, now truth is exposed. He knows that he is the son of Lois and Eucastra, and he killed his father, and he married his own mother. Then, moving to part 7, light into darkness. Inside the palace, Oedipus finds Eucastra. She has hanged herself. He takes the golden pins from her robe, the brooch that fastened her dress, and drives them into his own eyes again and again. He punished himself as he knew the truth. Oedipus got blind and said, You shall not see the evil I have done and suffered. You shall see no more those whom you ought never to be seen, and those I wish to see you shall not know. The chorus said, "What drove you to do this? Of all the evil that could have come, why your eyes? What god put this into your mind?" Oedipus said, "Apollo, it was Apollo who brought all this to pass. But the hand that struck, that was mine, mine alone. Why should I have eyes? What was left for me to see that could give me any joy?" Creon, while he was blamed for taking the throne, came forward not as an enemy but as the man who must now govern. He is quiet, yet decent. He asks Oedipus what he wants. Well, then Oedipus said, "Drive me out of Thebes. I'm a pollution. I am what the oracle said. Get me out of here. Let me go to the mountains of Keraton, where my parents first tried to put me to death. Let me die there. That was always my fate." Oedipus then asked his daughter, "But my daughters, Antigone, Ismene, let me hold them. Let me touch their face one more time. They are all I have. They are everything, and they will live with what I have made them." His daughters were brought to him. He held them. This blinded old man who ruled the city solved the riddle of the spring and destroyed himself in the pursuit of truth. Now he is weeping. Oedipus then said to his daughters, "Weep for me, children, not for yourself. I weep for you. What life will you have? No man will marry you, daughters of Oedipus. No city will welcome you. You will wander loveless without a home. That is what I have given you, I who love you more than anything in the world." Creon gently separated him from his daughter. Oedipus is led into the palace. No longer king, no longer anything with the name he can use. The doors closed. The chorus speaks the final word of the play. They are perhaps the most famous closing line in the world theatre. Now these are the lines by the chorus. "Look upon Oedipus. Look upon Oedipus. He solved the famous riddle. He was the man most mighty. No citizen looked on his fortune without envy. See into what a sea of dread troubles he has come. Therefore, call no man happy until he has crossed life's border free from pain." Then moving forward, as the story ends, now the question that is why Rex is a perfect tragedy. Well, Aristotle in his work Poetics called Oedipus Rex the real tragedy, not because it is the most horrifying story, but because it has done everything a tragedy must do for perfect precision. It gives a great man, not a wicked one, brought down by the combination of faith and his own character. Oedipus is not evil. He's hamartia. Now one will discuss the literary criticism. His work is quite famous, Aristotle's Poetics. It is mentioned in his work hamartia, that his fatal flaw is not cruelty or malice, it is the quality that made him great, relentless, unstoppable desire to know the truth. He is destroyed by his own virtue. Well, according to Aristotle, a hero is always the tragic one who suffers the most. So, what is the play actually about? It play explores fate versus free will and gives no easy answer. Was Oedipus fated? Just he could have made a different choice at the crossroad. Yes, both things are true. This is the tragedy. You cannot escape what God has written, but you also choose every moment who you are. It is also the play about knowledge and its cost. Jocasta begged him to stop. The shepherd begged him to stop everything. Everyone could see that where it is going. Oedipus alone could not, and this is what he finally saw. He destroyed his sight, he destroyed himself by making himself blind. Now, this shows about the tragedy. What is tragedy according to Aristotle? This shows the fate versus free will. While they both go things that go hand in hand, as you can see, it was his fate, and then at free will, he could do anything at the crossroads, but he couldn't stop. It means the fate is one step higher than free will. Then it is also a play about knowledge and cause. This tells us that sometimes it's better to stop than to go forward. Now this is it, Freud and the Oedipus complex. Sigmund Freud named his most famous theory of the display the Oedipus complex. Now this is what we talked about in the start. The unconscious desire of a child to replace the same-sex parent and possess the other. Most scholars of Sophocles find this reading deeply reductive. The play is not about desire, it is about knowledge, fate, and what comes to be, and what it costs to be a human. Freud borrowed the name and left the meaning behind. What makes Oedipus Rex immortal? What makes it devastating to read it today, as it was in Athens in 429 BC, is that the question we all carry inside us, whether we could say it out loudly or not. It is, what if the worst thing I could discover is who I am actually? So, this is one of the amazing questions of literature that horrifies a person at the same time. 2,500 years later, we are still afraid to answer it. Well, the theme of Oedipus Rex is the truth is always present, it does not wait for you to find it. So, this is the ending of story. Hope you have understood it and enjoyed it. It is one of the brilliant plays, the most beautiful tragedies written down in history that shook every reader down to their core that what is actually happening. So, thanks for watching. Do like, subscribe, and share. Enjoy your day.